Do you love a good room transformation as much as I do? Especially when it's on a budget? Then you are going to love today's video. Let's do it.
Did you ever stop and think, why spend too much time just getting ready?
I'm Elle and I love creating a home that feels cozy and comfortable and organized. And I'm all about intentional living. If you're anything like me, fall often feels like a time of new beginning. It almost feels like a mini new year. And so it seemed like a perfect time to transform my closet. My closet is much bigger than I need it to be. As a minimalist, I definitely do not need a closet this big. It just happens to be how big this closet is. And so I wanted to create a space that was really inspiring and creative and showcases my clothing, because as much as I am a minimalist and I use capsule wardrobes, I still love fashion. I also wanted it to feel kind of calm and organized. And I gave myself the challenge that I was gonna do it all myself. So this is what we started with. The builders, when I got the house, had put in this Rubbermaid, actually it's closet made, kind of standard shelving. And it just wasn't laid out very well. Do you see how a lot of the pieces are overlapping? It just wasn't a good use of space. And considering I was only using a quarter of the closet, I just felt like there has to be a better system for me. So the first thing I did was wash all my clothes so I knew the exact amount of clothing that I was working with, and I put all my clothes on hangers, and I started sort of staging how I want the closet to function.
But this time, girl, I know what's bothering me. I need somebody.
So using the back wall, I started organizing the clothes of how I would like it to look when it's all done. This gave me a visual sense of what my purposes were and what my needs were for the closet. So I would kind of look back and think, okay, where would I want things to go when I was going into the space in the mornings? What would make for the most visually appealing but also functional, organized system? And it really helped to plan things out ahead of time. Next, I went in with my tape measure and started taking measurements so I knew what space I was working with, but also how long and high and deep I wanted each shelf and rail, so I knew exactly what I wanted to create for my specific purposes.
I need somebody.
Once I had all of that information, it was time to sit down at the computer. I opened Photoshop. If you have Procreate or a program like that, it would be much easier to create it in that program, but I didn't have that program at the time, so I just went into Photoshop, and using the measurements that I had taken, I drew what my ideal closet would look like. This helped me to identify again what my needs were so I could shop and decide what my best option was for my dollar. Was it better for me to DIY something? Was it better for me to buy something that existed on Facebook Marketplace, or go with a custom closet system from Ikea? So this is what I ended up drawing, and for my purposes, it actually was less expensive and more straightforward to go with Ikea shelving. It's actually the same shelving that I used in my pottery studio as well. It's completely customizable, and I could make it to the exact dimensions that I needed. Next, it was time to take everything out of the closet, both my clothes as well as start to uninstall the existing shelving. And that is when I ran into my first issue. I assumed that the shelving would be installed with screws, but I was sort of disappointed to find out that Closet Made system uses this flat nail system, which not only completely obliterates the wall, but it looked difficult to remove. Thankfully, after researching some on YouTube, I found that what you had to do was just grab the nails with a little bit of pliers and a little bit of elbow grease, and they came straight out. It definitely meant that I had to do some patching on the walls though. So that was my next task. I also ended up painting the closet the same color as my bedroom, and I will have the paint color linked down below. The next day, it was time to install the closet. So I did Ikea curbside pickup, and in light of COVID, it was a really great option. It's $5 extra, but then you don't have to fight the crowds at Ikea. It was well worth it. So I picked up my closet system. They had everything that I needed that I had ordered, and I came home and started installing. I just followed the Ikea instructions. I find, definitely some things with Ikea are made better than others, and some things with Ikea are easier to install than others. But I would say my, DIY construction skills are maybe a 2 to 3 out of 10. And I found this really, really easy to install. The hardest part of installing it was that I was installing it by myself. So I didn't have an extra pair of hands to kind of help pass me things. But as you can see, thank goodness my height came in handy and I was able to make do. Once everything was installed, it was time to put in my clothes. And to be honest, you guys shouldn't be surprised if you've been following my channel for a while, but because of my type A personality, this was a lot of fun. I love folding clothes. I actually find it very therapeutic, and I decided to use the KonMari folding method for a lot of my clothes for this particular closet. I'm a very visual person, and I find, especially when it comes to getting dressed in the morning, it's really important that you are able to see all of the clothes. There seems to be a struggle with object permanence when it comes to fashion, and it seems that if you can't easily see your items, you tend to not wear them. So, you know, the KonMari method is not necessarily the fastest, but because it allows for that vertical fold, it worked for this particular closet system, and I'm only using it for certain items like pajamas, so the upkeep of that is really not that bad. Once my clothes were all put away, it was time for the big reveal. So let's look back and see what things looked like before, so we can see how far we've come.
But something knocked you out. You felt your limitations and filled your mind with doubt. You wanna stay chill right now and don't let your eyes off the prize. I know you want it to be easy, so let your guard down. And I said, see it in your mind, trust that, have what it takes inside, 'cause you can make it too. If not says who, yeah, you can make it too. If not says who, you can make it. And I said, see it in your mind.
I hope you liked this closet makeover. If you did, I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up. If you love room makeovers and room transformations, you would love my channel if you're not currently subscribed, because I love doing those. I also do a lot of clean with me videos, and I talk a lot about intentional living and minimalism. So if that's something you're into, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. Let me know in the comments what you think of the transformation. I'm going to be filming my fall capsule wardrobe very soon, and so I'm going to be sharing that with you. So make sure you keep your eye out for that video. I hope you guys are having a great day and that you have a great weekend too. See you next week.